Hi everyone, welcome to Yun's Family Table. Are you looking for an ultra easy bread recipe? Then there's no need. Artisanal cinnamon raisin bread will become your new go-to. You can have an amazing loaf of homemade bread with just a few minutes of hands-on preparation. Let's go. The process starts the night before. In a medium to large bowl, mix up all your ingredients. First to dry, like your flours, salt, cinnamon, and yeast. Mix that up and then add the water. Combine the dough roughly with a spoon or spatula before adding in the raisins. You can also include any nuts that you like, for example, walnuts or pecans. When it becomes too hard to handle with a spatula, switch over to your clean hand. Make sure to squeeze the dough through your hands in between your fingers to ensure that all the ingredients are evenly distributed. This will be a wet and sticky dough, but that's okay. Just scrape it off your hands, cover, and let it rest for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, we're going to strengthen the dough by doing a few stretches. Wet your hands with some water and start pulling the strands of the now shapeless dough up and over itself. You will see that the dough has built up some of its gluten structures and will become firm and smooth as you repeat the stretch and fold technique. When the dough becomes too hard to stretch, you can start tucking in the dough into a smooth ball. Again, this helps to smooth out the surface and build strength in the dough. You can repeat this process again in another 30 minutes, but it's not essential. Then cover and leave it to rise on the countertop for 12 hours, up to 18 hours depending on the temperature of your home. After the long fermentation time, you will end up with a very bubbly dough that is about to overflow. Carefully inch the dough away from the bowl on the edges and flip the bowl over onto a generously floured table. The dough should slowly but surely detach from the bowl and plop onto the table in one piece. Dust some flour on top and carefully pull out the dough with your hands. Try not to disturb it too much as to push out any air bubbles. Then fold it like a ladder. Turn it over and roll the long cylinder into a ball. This is one way of folding the dough into a ball shape that gives it structure, but you can always just crisscross and pull the edges of the flattened dough onto itself until you have a shape that you want. I also like to use my dough scraper or just my hands to create some surface tension and a smoother exterior in the process. For the second proofing, I have a Benetton proofing basket where I leave my bowl of dough to rise with the smooth side down and seam side up. But you can easily use a bowl lined with a heavily floured tea towel or even just straight onto a parchment paper without the use of a basket for simplicity, in which case the seam side would be on the bottom as it won't be flipped before going into the oven. Loosely cover again and leave it to rise for another 1 to 2 hours. About 30 minutes before baking, you'll want to preheat your oven as well as your Dutch oven if using or any enamel cookware with the oven sieve lid. You'll want to heat it up so it will be piping hot when your bread is ready for the oven. Once your bread has proofed up again, we'll need to get it into the hot Dutch oven. To do that, rip out a large piece of parchment paper and dust it with some flour. Flip the bowl of dough onto the center and score it however you prefer. This allows the steam to escape and the bread to rise up over the top and not on the sides. Now that your Dutch oven is piping hot, carefully remove it from the oven and lift up the parchment paper with the bread and lower it into the pot. Put the lid back on and into the oven, cover to cook for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, take it out and remove the lid and bake uncovered for another 10 to 12 minutes. And when it's done baking, all you have to do is take it out by the handy parchment paper and allow it to cool completely on a wire rack. You will end up with a crusty, strong loaf of bread that sounds hollow when you tap it on the bottom. The smell of cinnamon will be wafting through your home. Resist the urge to cut into it until it's cooled completely, because cutting it when it's still warm can make the breadcrumb gummy and stuck together. This bread has an amazing texture and a depth of flavor that comes with long fermentation. With little effort, you can end up with a loaf that is as good, if not better, than those from a bakery. This is my favorite cinnamon raisin bread because there's no added sugar and it's packed with ground cinnamon fragrance and sweet, juicy raisins. Make it today, you won't regret it. Help support this channel by clicking a like and a comment below. I love to hear from you. As always, go to jensfamilytable.com for the full written recipe. Subscribe to my channel for weekly videos of goodies and recipes. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.